It's like
Boom,
you hear
boom,
that
boom, boom,
boom,
boom.
boom, boom.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Now tell me what you gonna do when ain't nowhere to run. But it's been going really well. I'm super excited about the songs we're covering today.
yeah, man. Yeah.
These are great songs.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what you were going to think about because the Neutral Milk, we're doing today Neutral Milk Hotel's song In the Aeroplane Over the Sea. The song, not, the whole album's called that too, but the song and Bone Thugs and Harmony's Crossroads, which probably I was thinking back through it this morning, and if it's not the biggest crossover hit from the mid and late 90s, it's certainly one of the two or three. Like it's way, 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 way up the list of songs that were everywhere in the culture and not just in hip hop culture.
So that's the first thing I want to talk about is that Crossroads is one of the best rap songs ever.
It was such a good song. Like I hadn't listened to it in a long time before this
Me
morning again,
either.
and I was like, "Oh, this is why it
This
was."
is epic.
Yeah,
It's epic. It's one of see,
yeah,
it's very this is
so
one
good.
of those moments
Hmm.
where first of all, part of what makes the song great, and
Hmm.
I just talked about this. This is why I did it too. I actually referenced Bone on the last show of According to Hip Hop because I was actually digging back through some of their stuff. You know,
Hmm.
I go on these little digs, I'll hear a song and I'll be like, ooh, let me go listen to their stuff again.
Yeah.
And I realized Bone made a lot of hit records. And part of the reason that they were hits is because Bone is good at doing songs with timeless themes.
Hmm.
Crossroads is a timeless theme. For the Love of Money is a timeless theme.
Hmm.
Days of Our Lives is a timeless theme.
Right.
First of the Month is a timeless theme.
Right.
So they're great at that, but never did their style and their harmony and their superior lyricism. They are underrated as lyricists.
Hmm.
Came together with a timeless theme over a dope beat, and it's a hit, but it's one of those hits that everybody that's in the street is playing the hit too because of the timeless theme. You see, the
Hmm.
timeless theme of losing somebody really
Right.
relates to the inner city. Like it relates to everybody, but it
Hmm.
really relates to the inner
Right.
city, the way that they framed it. And the fact that Easy had just died.
Hmm. It was like just a few months before they released it, right?
Yes, well, the original version of the song was recorded while Easy was still alive.
Okay.
So it wasn't about Easy, but it was Easy's passing, if memory serves, and somebody else that they lost. Like I think
Right.
Crazy Bone or
He
somebody in
it
there.
like lists two or three different people in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had lost a couple of people in addition to Easy around the
Mhm.
same time.
And
And that's
Easy
what,
had been sick, right? Like so he was right.
yeah, he
I'm not
died
making
of
that. I'm remember.
complications from AIDS.
That's what I thought. Okay. Right.
Yes, he died of AIDS related complications, correct. So this is all happening around that time. And so it's just a tour de force moment where it's like, well, this group is already big. Like, how about this? They're big. Oh, they're outselling Wu Tang and
Hmm.
Outkast and
Yeah.
everybody else because
Yes.
they are going triple, quadruple platinum.
E99 1999, man. That's a mm,
And that's one of rap's better rap albums. It's probably a top 50 rap album. And that album, the first single is First of the Month.
mhm.
And the second single is East 1999. And I think they were probably double platinum just
Wow.
off of those two
Wow.
songs alone. But then they dropped this.
Yeah. Like
This records,
I would
this
those other two that you named, I would recognize if I heard them probably, but like just saying the names, they don't call songs to mind. This one
right.
obviously does.
East 1999 is probably their best street record, and they
Hmm.
released it for a single, which I thought was really dope. That's one of their better mic performances.
Hmm.
First of the Month is just a classic record. It's just a great, great record.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the whole album. Like it's been a very long time
Yeah,
since I listened to the whole
you
thing.
need to Mo Murder, Mr. Ouija, Bud Smokers Only, Buddha Lovers. Yeah, there's great great stuff on that album. The harmonization and the lyrics is like at an all time high. Um, but then they dropped this, and it was like, well, then the album sold another 2 million records, but this song alone sold like 3 or 4 million copies by itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the single, this single, like performed about as well as the album did. His
Hmm.
memory served, like in terms of sales. And this is back when you actually like
Right.
had singles
Had
on
like
tape and
right,
CDs and
like things
right.
that you're
And
holding in your
so
hand. Yeah.
so imagine, so this is what I mean. You got a group that's going triple, quadruple platinum on the album, and
Hmm.
then going triple, quadruple platinum on one of the singles.
Yeah.
So they did like 8 million off of
Yeah.
this album slash
I,
single.
I remember it being
That's
huge. I remember the song being everywhere. Like the
no,
only
it's
other
huge.
song, like only other hip hop song from like that area that I remember being like that much of a crossover everywhere song was All About the Benjamins. Like that's the only other one. I'm not saying that those are the best ones. I'm just saying like those are the ones in my circle of understanding um that were everywhere, just like um you ought to know, like Alanis Morissette and Hootie and the Blowfish and all that shit. Like these were everywhere in the same kind of way.
I don't say this too often because it's rare that I get to say this.
Mhm.
Oh no, All About the Benjamins wasn't as everywhere in the way the Crossroads
No,
was.
it wasn't. But I'm saying that's the only other one I can think of that was like even in the ballpark like that
Okay, so when
as
I
a
think of songs,
crossover hit anyway.
when I think of songs that see, that's what I mean is that like the other songs that I know around that time that were everywhere, I'm not sure how big of a crossover hit
Right.
they
That's
were
that's
in
what I'm saying.
relationship.
Right.
Yeah, like I'll give you the records that came to mind in terms of like just was everywhere, but I don't think crossed over like the song Nothing But a G thing by Dr. Dre.
That
Um,
was yeah. That one did. Gin and Juice did too.
Gin
Um.
and Juice.
Um.
Gin and Juice is the song that I thought of as like, no, this song was Gin and Juice, like big.
Yeah. It's
So
huge.
that was
Huge.
the
Huge.
one. Like, this is what I'm saying. All About the Benjamins.
Hmm.
One More Chance remix.
Yeah. That
I'll
one
Be
too.
There For You by Method Man and Mary J.
Hmm.
Blige. Those three records are not as big as this record.
Now this one, and one of the things that this one
They're
does,
comparable records, but
yeah,
they're not bigger.
yeah, there it was huge, and it's so, and like I said, we haven't listened to it in a while, and we coming back to it now years later, you're like, oh, okay, like it didn't ever really to me get to the place where this is like super overplayed and I'm tired of hearing it, but it also it when you hear it so many times over and over, it kind of numbs the how good it is. Like you
Mm-hmm.
stop hearing things, and then you wait a while and you come back to it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's why this was a thing. Yeah, it's got that little synth intro. It just kind of slide that first note that it plays before he
Yeah,
starts. Like that's one of those. There are not a ton of songs that I would recognize immediately with the first note, and that's one of them because of that.
that's what I
You,
mean. When the note comes in, it's like you already start harmonizing.
yep.
It's like
Bum
you hear
bum
that
bum bum
boom,
bum.
boom, boom.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Now tell me what you're gonna do when ain't nowhere to run. No, it's a flawless victory. And you want to know what
Yes.
it is too?
Mm,
I realized that part of the crossover appeal of the song, and this happens in hip hop, this is the way a
mhm,
song really crossover in hip hop. It has to be something that the youth in the inner city community relate
mhm,
to, but that the older generation understands because the 40 something year old me listens to this song more reflectively.
mhm.
And now I can look back and see why somebody like my aunt or my mom liked this song just as much as I
Right.
did. It's because it wasn't because they were hip hop fans, it was because they had lost.
Yeah.
And this song is about loss too. And for
Yeah.
people who have lost.
Which is basically everybody, right? Like,
Right. Well, some people like when you're reflective about the loss, like some people lose and don't
mhm,
give a shit. You know,
right.
it's just how they're designed. It's the way some human beings are created. This is one of those songs that if you have a heart,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and you've lost someone that you care about,
Yeah.
even if you're not a Bone fan, even if you're not a rap fan, oh no, you get down with this song.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most timeless things ever. I see you at the crossroads, so you don't be lonely.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we all want, right? It's like somebody be waiting for
Right,
us, right? Like there's
right.
yeah, and it hits the "I'll see you again" thing too, right?
Yeah, we all want to, it's like my mother said, it's like she's like, I want to see my whole family in the afterlife, not just
Right.
a person here,
Right.
person there. I want to see all my kids and my parents and my grandkids when it's their time. And I mean, it's like
Right.
that. This record is speaking to that. And this is also coming along during a time where, because of how well the video was done.
With videos, like I can see that's one of the ones I can
I,
close my eyes and see the video.
yes, I
Like,
still see the video. I still see that dude that they had playing like the Reaper coming and
mhm.
touching people and their
Yeah,
eyes going black and no, the
yeah,
video. So that's what I mean. It's flawless video. It's like no, brilliant song extremely well executed at the highest level, timeless theme, video perfect, song perfect, message perfect. Like
yep.
it's one of rap's. This is one of rap's best songs. Like it's up. That's why
Mm.
it's like no, when if you should talk about this song like Nothing But a G Thing, like Gin and Juice, like I'll Be There For You,
It's
like the
iconic.
One More Chance remix, like All About the Benjamins remix, like They Reminisce Over You. No, it's one of those records.
It's
As a
y'all.
matter of fact, this and They Reminisce Over You would probably be in competition for best rap song about losing somebody.
I'll be missing you as you put on that list too. Or that was another one of those. It's not really as rap-ish, but like it's one of those
It's
other songs that hits the same kind of
it
theme too.
did okay, so that's one of those records that's liked in the hip hop community,
Hmm.
but not loved
Right.
the way those other records are, even though it's about Big and about that, it's not a top 10 rap record. Because in the
No.
rap
Like, yeah.
community,
I wouldn't say
yeah,
that either. No.
yeah. But in terms of like how big it was, yes. But like in terms even in terms of the quality of the record, no disrespect, it's like, oh no, that shit's not the Crossroads are all about the Benjamins.
It is not. I
It's
mean
not.
that one launched. And we'll probably do another episode on it at some point. But it launched because it was it used the police
They
song.
use Sting and the Police
Right.
thing. Yeah. I mean, it literally took the whole loop and the whole theme.
Yeah.
I
It took
mean,
it just yeah. It is that
yeah,
song except
it's
with
that song, right?
rap
It's that
verses. Yeah.
song. Yeah. I mean, not like it's not great. It's good to do remakes, but
Mm.
yeah. Like,
It's not
how
like
about
this.
this? If I like what Wyclef did with "Staying Alive" more than I like "I'll Be Missing You" by Puff.
Mhm. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's like,
I love almost all the stuff that Wyclef like that's one of
yeah.
my we got to talk about him at some
But then
point on
again,
here on here
staying.
too.
You know what? I actually thought about this. I would love to do a "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees and
We
"Staying
can do that.
Alive" by Wyclef. Like, "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees is one of my favorite songs. That's like some of my theme music.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. "Staying Alive" is my
That's a good
shit.
song
Oh
though.
yeah, yeah. It's great. I love the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
He says, "You can tell by the way I walk that I'm a woman's man. No time for talking." It's like, oh yeah, yeah, I know about
Hmm.
that. Yes.
Yeah. And talk about a song that sticks in your head too, man. Like
Oh yeah,
that's
no, no, no. The rhythm and the cadence. You know what it is? It's the melody at "Staying Alive" with "Somebody help me." Yeah, I'm staying alive. No, that shit's that's an all time groove. That
yeah.
might be a top 10 song for me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
It
it's
is a
up
great
there.
song for sure.
No, it's up there. It's one of the best songs I've ever heard. Yeah. But I
Can,
mean, back to the
yeah,
go
if you
ahead.
connect it back to the Crossroads has like 4 or 5 or 6 different hooks, like things that I can sing along to. And we've talked about this. One of the ways that all of these songs cross over is because they have sing along pieces. And this one
Mhm.
has a ton of them. It
Multiples.
has boom, 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 boom. Right, that part. It
Right.
has the I Miss My Uncle Charles part. It
I miss my
has,
Uncle Charles, y'all. That's
yeah,
probably the most iconic part of the song.
yeah. You have that. And then you have the actual hook. The
Yeah.
but one of the interesting parts about that, I didn't notice this until I re-listened to it today. The actual hook, the "See You at the Crossroads" part, doesn't come in until like after 2 minutes into the song, which is way late,
Yeah. So the
later than I
song
thought.
is like, first of all, the beat comes in and the harmony starts,
Yeah,
and that goes on for about 20 or 30 seconds.
yeah.
And then they do a whole verse in a bridge. And so it's like, yeah, it doesn't like come into like a minute, 50
It's
seconds
like
into
a
the
thing that
song.
builds gradually as it goes, right? Like
Hmm.
it's and there's more too. I mean, the and we pray and we pray and we pray. Right, that part every day. Like that part is the
That's
sing
my
along part.
favorite part.
Yeah,
That's my favorite part.
yeah, I love
And
it.
we pray and we pray and we pray and we pray every day, every day, every
Yeah.
day, every
So there
day.
are tons of things that like I'm going to be 100% real with you, okay? This morning was the first time I had listened to this song with like the lyrics pulled up at the same time. I did not know any of the words to this fucking song other than the ones that I just sang to you. Not a single one of them.
Okay.
So like it hits different now that I'm paying attention to, like I can understand what he's saying, but this is one of the geniuses of the song is that you can sing along to it and groove along to it or whatever and not know a damn thing he's saying, like in the verses or whatever.
So the reason
It's hard
that
to do.
yes, extremely, no matter what genre of music you're
Yeah.
in, the whole part, and I'm glad you're bringing this up because I was going to re-reference it anyway. That's why the and damn, I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all, is
Yeah.
so important to the song because it's the only part a lot of people could remember as far as the rapping part.
Yep.
Because
Exactly.
everybody remembers the multiple harmonies and bridges. It's like you said. It's like, well, really, the song has like the song kind of starts off with a bridge,
Yeah.
and then the song starts, and then they go into one hook, and then they go into another hook,
And then
and
you go into
so
the verse.
it's
Yeah,
not really
there's so many
there's so many
memorable
layers to the
pieces.
song, right? And it's not very verse heavy, but that is the part that people remember because it was the most, you know. Just quick story: when Bone came out
Hmm.
with "Creeping on a Come Up," I can remember "Thuggish Ruggish Bone" came out when I was in eighth grade. When we were
Okay.
in eighth grade, it was a whole thing,
Hmm.
and I'm not joking. The girls wanted to know who actually could rap the verses because we had never heard somebody rap like that before.
Right.
And so you were actually cool if you actually came to school and could say the words to Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
Oh, cool.
Get ready for the bone and the mo thugs, busters. You know me as a hustler. Try to creep and get beat. Make six feet. Gotta put them under straight jack in. Gotta make that money, man. It's still the like if you could
Mhm.
rap it, that was a thing
Wow. Okay.
because you couldn't because no, it was like, what the hell are they doing? Are they rapping? Are they harmonizing? Are they singing? What are they
They're
doing?
doing a little bit. It's kind of
It's like I don't
blends
know what it
those,
is.
right?
I don't know what it is, but it's really fucking good.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
is.
good. It was one of those things. It's really good. We don't know what it is, but so the thing about catching them and
Mhm.
understanding what they're saying has always been a thing.
Okay.
Like it's one like their ability to harmonize, but to hit you with that rapid fire flow where you can't catch all the words is part of the buy-in.
Okay.
So Crossroads is kind of proof positive that it's like, well, Bone has been attracting followers and fans who didn't understand what they were saying totally from the jump because Thuggish Ruggish Bone took Creeping on a Come Up to quadruple platinum on
Wow.
an EP. It's an EP. It went quadruple platinum.
Mm.
And that was just off of For the Love of Money. Like most people know Easy's verse on For the Love of Money more than they know Crazy Bones' verse. That's because it's like, well, it's Easy E. It's easier to understand.
Right.
That's why it's like DJs play Easy's part on For the Love of Money a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because it's the understandable part that you don't have to think about.
Yeah.
So Bone is underrated as lyricist because of that too.
Because nobody knows what they're saying, or you have to like pay close attention to catch what they're saying. I guess is
Yeah,
really
like on Thug Love, like Busy's right there with Pac lyrically.
wow. Wow.
Nobody talks about it though, because you actually have to hear the shit Busy saying and understand. It's like, oh my god, it's like this dude's snapping. He can rap his ass off.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, doing what they're doing now, like even in the like that's like I tried to like even like I've heard this song 1,000 times, and so I tried to say the stuff along like while I'm looking at the lyrics as it's playing. I can't do it. I can't. I mean, I
hmm
probably could if I practiced for a while, but like just it's a very difficult thing to do for sure.
it is. No,
And
no,
that's
no.
and like you said, that's part of the buy-in. You have the sing along like seven sing along hooks, and you have a style that you never heard before. Like you have both of those things, at least from
Right.
somebody that's not them, right? So you have those two things kind of blending together.
Bone and 3 6 had, when they did the verses, part of why they did a verses because they used to have beef.
Oh, they did.
Because 3 6 felt like Bone had taken some of their early fast rapping style.
Mm.
And so that was always like a thing between the camps. So Bone was the first group that I saw really getting just first MCs period that I saw really get notarized, like really heavy for that fast rapping
Mm.
style, which is more Midwest driven.
Okay.
They're from Cleveland.
Okay.
That's about, my family on my dad's side's from Youngstown. So Northeast
Close-ish.
Ohio,
Yeah.
Yes, well, it's Northeast Ohio is rough.
Yeah,
It's rough.
yeah.
And so they're rough around the edges. And so like there was the video. Like Bone always did a good job of keeping it street, even when they were selling a lot of records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's why I mean the video to the Crossroads, that's not like
That's some
like
dark
that's not
shit.
well, that's not the production job video wise that I'll be there for you all about the Benjamins is, you feel me? Or
Right.
one more chance. That's why it's like go look at those videos, go look at the Crossroads videos. It's like the Crossroads the bigger song, but it's also the grittiest video between them. You
Yeah.
know? It looked like they shot it themselves, damn near.
Yeah.
You
There's
know, even
another
though they did
crossover between the two songs we're going to talk about too. We'll get to that in a minute, but like they're
right. But brilliant record, one of rap's best songs. This would be a I don't know if it would make my top 10 songs ever list, but it's one of those songs that's viable in that conversation.
okay. That makes sense. Like it's you may not think that it's a top 10 song ever, but it's not stupid to make that argument.
Like I'm like it's not gonna make my top 10 because records like Cream
Hmm.
and Dear Mama
Right.
are in my top 10. Well, Dear Mama should be in everybody's top 10. But because I have certain records like because I love Award Tour by Tribe Called Quest so much,
Yeah.
like
That's a good song too.
a a song like that would keep a song like Crossroads from getting in. Because for as much as I love Crossroads and respect it, I'm not playing Crossroads over Award Tour.
Right.
Not in my house.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one of those
And
things
that's
too.
one of those things about, I mean, as much as we try to do like top 10 lists and top 20 lists or whatever, and have criteria and we can obviously back up our opinions or whatever, but also so much of when I'm thinking about the best songs that I've heard this year, for example, like the one to kind of think through how that list is going to look, like on the non-hip hop side. Um, so much of it is about personal preference, right? Like it's about the things that I like and things that I like listening to, and maybe not having the names that are as big, but the ones that I find myself playing over and over again, right?
Yeah, like how about this? It's like I played Deep Cover the other day,
Hmm.
and I was like, shit, I don't know if Gin and Juice and Nothing But a G thing are better than this song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I don't know that. And now because I interviewed the glove
Hmm.
and I know the story to Deep Cover, every time that fucking Clevenger plays, I think about the story and I'm
Right.
like, this is the
We
illest
walked
shit
across the street and like
ever. You
bass, yeah.
remember the story
Yeah,
too, right?
even I
When
remember
Drake,
the story, yeah.
right. And so now every time I hear that boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. I can see Glove telling me the story in my mind. I'm like, this is the illest shit ever. I was like, he went
Yeah,
and bought a
that's
Clevenger to
that's
like
yeah.
that's like think about that. He went and bought a Clevenger to play the bass line. I'm like, oh
And
shit.
he got
I'm
the
like,
Isley
I'm
guy
never
too, right?
forgetting that.
Like
Huh?
he got that
Yes.
Ernie Isley to come play it. Yeah, right. So I
Yes.
mean,
That's fucking
that's the
crazy.
thing. Like, not this is a huge sidebar, sorry, but Taylor Swift, for
That's a
example, is
scary
getting
one.
lots of play right now because she's re-recording a lot of her albums because her previous label won't release them, which is a genius move. But that's exactly what they fucking did right there. They said they wouldn't release the or didn't want to
Sample.
pay for the sample, so we'll
Right.
just get the guy to come play it then. Like,
Fuck that. Fuck all that. Ernie, yeah, give him 10 G's. Ernie, come play
just
this shit.
let him actually play it like live in the
Right.
studio, right? Yeah.
I I need a Clevenger. Glove, go get a Clevenger. Here's my card.
Yep.
It's
Those
like,
things are not
yeah,
cheap
like
either. Like those are
no, that's
serious
like three,
instruments.
four, $5,000 back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like back then.
Hmm.
That's what I mean. It's just like, oh, like people don't understand this. No, that lets you know how serious they are about making one record. It's like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. We'll go buy a piece of equipment, an instrument that costs thousands of dollars,
Just for
just so
one
we
piece of
can
one
play.
song. Yeah.
Just so we can play boom, 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 boom. I can feel it.
When I thought about this pairing between these two songs, I thought of them both as songs about death. Like that was like
Mm-hmm,
the crossover
mm-hmm.
piece here. But when I re-listened to them in the last day or two, I'm realizing they're more songs about life and about like making the most of what you have. They're carpe diem songs. They're songs that are like celebrations of the fact that things in this world are temporary, right?
They're
And
not speaking of. Go ahead. I'm
and
sorry.
we need to enjoy the things as they're here, because they can be taken away and are taken away regularly.
No, that's really astute. These are songs about loss that are not depressing.
Right. They're both pretty uplifting songs.
They have an uplifting tone to them. Yes, I agree with that. That's a good, insightful analysis. Yeah.
And that's not a thing that I've listened to both of these songs, hundreds of times, not
Right.
just like independent of thinking about them as part of this show, but when I
Right.
so that's where I connected them originally. But that's but I realized that they're not dark, they're not sad, they're maybe funereal in the kind of songs that you'd play at a funeral, like the kind of that you'd want to play like as celebrating somebody's life, not like, God, this is so sad, but like um hope for better too, right? Like there's that feeling too.
I literally knew nothing. I literally knew nothing about this band or this
Yeah.
guy until you gave me this
Mm.
song. So I'll give you my early impressions
Yeah,
of
please,
just.
please.
First of all, I could tell that it was made in the '90s. I was like, there's some Green Day, no doubt Nirvana run off musically that I hear.
Okay.
But stylistically, I very much heard John Lennon in this, which
Mhm.
is what really perked me up because I think this is the first song where I hear not the Beatles influence,
Right.
but the influence of one of the artists from the Beatles, and that
Yeah.
would be John Lennon.
This song
This
would call
has,
back to Give Me Some Truth, really. That's the kind of song that it would come back to.
yes. So am I wrong for making that
No,
assertion?
you
Because that
you are
was
not
my
making that
early thought.
assertion. You're not wrong for making, especially the John Lennon one. I mean, like that's not one that I'd thought of before, but yeah, that makes good sense. It is.
Yeah.
um Real quick, Neutral Milk Hotel was this album came out 98, but it wasn't a thing then, really.
I
Like,
could tell that too.
it was not like nobody. I don't remember. I didn't was not familiar with them until their second like rise, like 2013, 14, 15, 10, 11, like that kind of, like 2010 to 2015 about was their renaissance, so to speak.
Okay.
um they were not, or at least not in my memory or um understanding at that point. They were not played on 106.5. They were not played like they were not a radio band at all. Um that never was a thing. So um they weren't. I mean, you can hear stylistically in their music really easily why they didn't fit really. Think of, I mean, this song is 1998, and that would have been like, even that's post the peaks, or the first peaks of Nirvana and Green Day and No Doubt. Those were like 93, 4,
That's what I
5
mean is I can hear the
earlier.
runoff of it. Right.
um but that would have been later. That's when you're starting to get into like Creed and later Blink
Yes.
182 and that kind of thing, right? So,
Blink is who
this is
came to
obviously
mind.
very, very, very different from that.
For that era, Blink 182 is who came to mind, and this is stylistically like the opposite.
Yes. It was an interesting way to think of comparing these two too, because the Crossroads is like one of the biggest songs, period, not just hip hop songs, but songs, period, of the
Yes.
90s. And
Yes.
this song is and this album too is a very famous song, but in a very small, like narrow subset of the population. When we talk about like indie music, use that word indie music, it's kind of been reverse engineered to talk about like college rock bands of the 80s, the Smiths and REM and Sonic Youth and bands like that. Um, Even all the way back to like Velvet Underground in the 60s. But and those are like the antecedents of this kind of, but when we start using the word indie like to describe a band, if this isn't the first one, it's certainly one of the first. They are one of the like OG indie bands, and you hear, and their second renaissance came like 2010, 11, 12, whatever,
Yeah.
because a lot of the bands coming out then, the Decemberists, Sufjan Stevens, um, who else? Like even Boy Genius and all of those people, even now,
Genius. Yeah.
like they are pulling from every band you hear now that's called an indie band is pulling from this album, whether intentionally or a couple degrees of separation. So
Oh,
they are like the starting, not the starting point, but they're the one of the ones where it pulls a lot of those influences together, the Lennons and the Dylans, combining it with the REMs and the Smiths, and combining, and you end up with all of these other bands in the modern world.
so when you say all that, and this is what I really noticed about the song, and here's where I love, like, I love it when our show kind of flips itself on its head stylistically in terms of what things happen. So when we're talking about Bone in the Crossroads and how big it is, well, it's because the harmonies
Mm-hmm.
that you find on the multiple hooks and the multiple
Right.
bridges and the quotable lines, those are things that we usually discuss when we're talking about the
Right.
white popular culture songs.
Yeah.
So let me tell you why this song was cultish and not big, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The lyrics on here are supreme, and that does not work in 1998.
Yep.
Lyrically speaking, this is one of the better songs that we've covered.
It's an incredible lyric, yes. But yeah, 1998 is the heyday of Britney Spears and NSYNC, and like that's that,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. Gone by NSYNC is number one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but like when he says stuff like, hold on, where was it? Because I had to pull up the lyrics.
Yeah, the lyrics
And
are excellent.
the lyrics are excellent. Hold on. Let me find the one that made me just be like, oh, wow. And it was towards the end. Hold on. All secrets sleep in winter clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. That's too much supreme writing for 1998, sir.
Yeah,
You are not allowed to make songs like this in 1998. That's definitely a time when the lyricism of all music, not just
yeah,
rap,
was
we have a
not that
slide.
was not the focus of what we were talking about. Yeah.
Right. So when it comes in, what a beautiful face. I have found this place that is circling all around the sun. What a beautiful dream. That's very much John Lennon. It's
Mm-hmm.
very much John
Yeah,
Lennon. And I mean that like in the highest songwriting and lyrical type of
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and stylistically it doesn't fit with 1998 either. Like it's a guy with an
Uh,
acoustic guitar with a fucking brass band in the background. Like right, like this plays the guitar solo or whatever. And
right.
it's it's genius and it's beautiful, but it's
Risky
very,
as hell for
very not of the
1998.
time.
It's very risky to do this around this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if you hear the phrase lo-fi too, that's also where this hits too. Like
Really?
this sounds like he recorded it and they may have recorded it in a home studio. I don't know, but like um it's not one of the other reasons that it's beloved, other than its lyricism, is because the sound of it doesn't sound overproduced, right? It
It doesn't.
sounds very raw and very edgy and very um, a lot of the emo-ish kind of bands come
It
from.
has a
You hear from like Dashboard Confessional, that kind of band also comes from this
it definitely has
genealogy.
it has a minimalist approach to it that's intentional, but
Hmm.
I think that's to help the lyrics shine through. That's usually how you
Exactly.
have to approach things in
Yeah.
that manner. Yeah. It's like, well, you can't make the beat super complicated and the production of it super complicated either because the words are enough.
The lyric that connected the dots between the Crossroads and the song for me, like when compare these songs, and I know you've like made some of the pairings too, like there's always like a moment where it like flashes like, oh, okay, this is where these two like that moment, and the
I
second verse
think I
is
know.
where that does that to me.
Yep. Yep.
The
Nope.
one day
I
we
knew
will
you were
die and
going
our
there.
ashes will fly from the airplane over the sea, but for now we are young. Let us lay in the sun and count every beautiful thing we can see. Love to be in the arms of all I'm keeping here with me. Like that's
I
again
literally have that
simple
part
lyrics,
highlighted.
beautiful turn. Like it's like a punch in the chest.
I have that part highlighted. I knew that's what made you pick this song.
Yeah, good.
That part right there. I have it highlighted because I'm like, that's why he picked this song. That's where it connected at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things I love about this show too is that there's always that moment where like the things fuse together, but then when you start teasing it apart a little bit, you
More
find
of it starts connecting.
there are more threads that are there
Hmm.
too. And
No, I think that is the beautiful part about what we do. When we deconstruct things further, it
mhm.
connects the pieces of the song more, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like it organically takes care of like our mission statement for this show.
You can also hear that it's a really easy song to play too. It's a four chord um kind of thing. It's the same chords as Let It Be in a different order, but like it takes there are four, um the root, the minor six, the five and four. It plays them in the same order. It flips the middle two.
Right. Okay. I can
I'll
hear
probably
that.
pause it here and play it on the guitar so people can hear the difference, but like it's the same four chords, just with the middle two flipped.
That would be dope if you would do that. I would like to hear that as well.
Mhm. All right, real quick. This is Let It Be. I'm gonna play Let It Be and in the Airplane Over the Sea, both in G, just for simplicity's sake. Um, Let It Be is 1 5 minor 6 4. So when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Right. Okay. And like I said, the middle chords in the Airplane Over the Sea are reversed. So instead of going that, it goes no. It's flipped. It's okay. So what a beautiful face I have found in this place that is circling all around the sun. Right. And this is a D2, same as that. But anyway.
Because I didn't catch that. I did catch the four chord. I didn't catch the flipping of the chords where it's
Yeah.
like literally comparable instrumentation. Where's this band from?
Um, Louisiana, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, they, I think, were, or he was born in Louisiana, Jeff Mangum, the voice and the guitarist you hear. Um, I don't, I don't know their personal history a ton. They may not have formed in Louisiana, but though you can hear like in the brass band, and like you can hear those kind of pieces a little bit. And it's not New Orleans; it's like a small town, but he is singing in a emotive way, which is kind of at the when you do that, you sing kind of at the edge of your range and at the edge of your voice. It's kind of it comes less from like here in your chest and more from like right here in your throat and your nose. And it's more nasal sounding, I guess. It's more aggressive is not the word either, but sharper, I guess, in some ways.
There it is, sharper. Okay, kind of like a knife. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like he has a piercing voice, like a blade.
Yes. There you go. That's a much better way to say that.
Piercing. There it
We'll
is.
figure out how
Because
to
I was
define it
hearing
better.
what you were saying, but I just wasn't
I was not
connecting
using the
all the
right
way.
words.
Well, I mean, we're both wordy people too.
Yeah.
I mean, lyrically, we could unravel this song for a while, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like lyrically speaking,
Mhm.
this is one of the better songs we've covered, like on either side, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's one of those things like
I I
when
think
we
a case
started
of
when I
you.
paired this up, I was like, I don't know if he's gonna like this one. Like this is I'm not sure. Like it's
I I love when we pick records that have the same theme, but operate differently in terms of approach to the theme. So Bones' approach is to melody and to harmonize
mhm,
and all of that. And the focus of this one is the intricate songwriting,
right,
you know. Now, musically speaking, Crossroads is more complicated, but lyrically speaking, Aeroplanes Over the Sea is more complicated.
right.
Message is the same.
Yeah. We gotta
Yeah.
celebrate what we have while we have it. What a beautiful face I've found in this place that is circling all around the sun. What a beautiful dream that can flash on the screen. Like that's a temporary thing, right? In the blink of
Right.
an eye and be gone from me. Soft and sweet. Let me hold it close and keep it here with me. Like that's celebrating like a moment with a person. right? That is temporary and it's gone, right? And which is the same thing the Crossroads is celebrating too, right? Understanding that things are temporary and that you need to enjoy them while you can, while they're still here with you.
Yeah. I mean, I just about how much I've been working lately, people have been talking to me. It's kind of funny. It's like, they're like, hey, I know you are who you are, but you're also about to be 42. So, I appreciate it if you wouldn't work yourself to death, like literally, Armand.
Now, I would
It's like, oh
appreciate that
yeah.
also. Yes, please.
Yeah, I thought about that and they were like, yeah. They was like, I am one of those people that in my mind I'm probably gonna be forever 25.
Mm,
I'm one of those people.
okay.
So I have to remind myself, you know what I mean? Even when like I was texting you earlier and I was like, oh no, I just got up.
Yeah. You need to sleep. You need to sleep. It's important.
Yeah, it's like, no, I need to sleep. It's like, no, I want to get up early and do this with you, but it's like, no, I don't want to see the crossroads anytime soon.
No, no, no. We got
And
lots
I
more
don't,
years of doing this.
right. And I don't want my ashes spread in the airplane over the sea
No,
anytime soon,
no,
you
please
know?
don't. No.
Yeah. No, so I mean, songs like this also just, now that we're wrapping up, it's just reminded me of like, you got to take care of yourself and enjoy the relationships that you have while you're here. Part of that is like taking care of yourself, self-care. Like one of my friends literally came to me, is like, he's like, okay, you're working 5 days a week, you're doing a podcast 2 days a week. He's like, and you have a backup podcast and you have a daughter. He was like, I'm gonna need you to take a day and tell everybody to kiss your ass.
No, seriously. Yeah. And I just asked about this week, and if you had said like I need to sleep Wednesday, I'd be like, okay. Well,
Right.
good.
No, you've already been pretty like good about it. And I knew that this was like a gap to get it done because I know in this gap, if I were to do it now, I can
Mhm.
actually go do what I need to do, go have my lunch, and still come back and get some more rest. So
Yeah, good. That's
yeah.
important to me. It's important to me that you take care of yourself too. Like
Yeah, well, I
not and
mean,
not just obviously because of this, but because of we're
yeah,
friends and like I want you to
yeah. We've
be
known
good.
each other for more than half our lives now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you tend to not want to see those people fade early.
Definitely not. No, we got lots and lots and lots more years.
Yes, we do.
Right.
God willing. I think that's a great
I
place
hope so.
to.
That's a perfect place to stop. And that's I mean it ties in our personal experience with what the songs
Yeah.
are.